Chapter 1. A gleaming white Toyota Quantum with black tinted windows pulled into a vacant parking space opposite Mac's garage. Everyone in Bulawayo knew Max's garage. It wasn't just a fuel and service station. It was more like a busy transit terminal. Max's garage was the gateway out of Bulawayo to places like Ezigodini, Gwanda, Bedbridge, and Johannesburg. In the same vein, it was also the entry point for those coming in from the southern parts of this country. It welcomed you into the bosom of the City of Kings, a city whose pulse was faltering as its entire body succumbed to an economic malaise. The Inn's fast food franchise located there also ensured the place was always bustling with activity. The people who thronged there were an easy target for the con artists, petty criminals, and vendors milling around. From his car, the driver had a vantage of the unfolding action around him. His interest was piqued by a woman sitting on the pavement, a child plugged to her breast, punting overripe bananas to every passerby. How many bananas did she have to sell in a day to break even? Could anyone actually survive on those takings? He shook his head in disdain. Not only was life brutally unfair, it was savagely hard. Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do a review of The Gold Diggers by Sue Nyathi. Okay, Sue Nyathi is from Zimbabwe, Bulawayo. And this is her, I think this is her her second book, I think. She has another book that's called The Polygamist, and I think she has a new book coming out very soon called A Family Affair, if I'm not mistaken. So, The Gold Diggers. Okay, I got onto The Gold Diggers because of Marina from Young, Gifted, and Black. If you guys aren't watching her, where y'all at? Come from underneath your rock and go follow Young, Gifted, and Black. I'll put her name here and I'll link her channel below. She spoke about this book last year and I was captivated because I could see on her face, she was like, gotta read this. Okay, so here I am today. I actually got a chance to read this book and I discussed it on Sunday with Christy Khia. We had a great discussion of The Gold Diggers. We could have gone on and on and on about how good this book was. Now, to get started, you got to get your mind right to read this one, okay? If you ain't got your mind right, don't pick it up. Now, what do I mean by that? For people who haven't been following me that long, you got to get your mind right means it's a tough read psychologically. So if you're not ready for all of that violence and sadness and, you know, you can't do it. That's get your mind right, okay? So I didn't realize I had to get my mind right to read it, but I quickly got my mind right. She yanked me up real quick, okay? Sue Nyathi does not hold back. So, The Gold Diggers, what is this about? So what we have here is the story of, I think it's about 6 different characters, and they have all taken a ride in this van, which is going to pass them over from Zimbabwe into South Africa. The main characters of the book are these people and the drivers of this van, okay, these passers. And each person has a reason to be in the van going to South Africa. There's maybe one person, maybe one character who didn't really need to be in that van, but was in the van. Okay, the thing that's interesting about this is because it's black people from Zimbabwe moving into South Africa, a place that's predominantly black. And so it's not like the typical story where you have black people or Arabic origin people that are trying to get into Europe or the US or something like that. So it tells us the story in you know, it's a little different than what we're used to. Now, the things that are prominent in this story is amongst all of this traveling, you get relationship stories, you get cultural differences, you get that whole idea of the man goes off to, you know, South Africa to make money and sends the money back to his family, but doesn't try to get back to Zimbabwe, stays in South Africa and prefers to stay in South Africa, living a life as if he's a single man while he has a wife and child or children behind in Zimbabwe. So you have that kind of story, which is quite common. But then you have the survival aspect. So once some of these people do arrive in South Africa, you have a whole world and slew of things that get in front of these people and stop them from being able to progress, you know, nicely, or I should say, to progress without too much difficulty. It's just one difficult thing after the other. So at one point you're just like, can somebody in this book catch a break? Okay? Because it shows you the aggressivity of the idea of moving to another place, especially when you're not wanted. So you're moving there and you are considered to be illegal. Everything that is entailed in the idea of being illegal, down to your identity, down to what you will do to stay in that country. You know, how far will you go? What will you actually do to stay in that country? This book is only, it's like not even 300 pages. 270 something pages. So fairly short to have so many characters. Like, I'll show you how many characters. So as I was reading the book, because I could see that there were a lot of characters and the names are very difficult to remember. So what I did was I made like this little chart thing here as I was going through the book, the stories. So it allowed me to keep in mind the names and the relationships of all the people, because sometimes it got very complicated with that. But as long as I was keeping track on my paper, I was fine. The writing style is very good too, because what Nyati does is she kind of pulls you in, and then once you're like right there, then she slaps you like over both cheeks and makes you wake up. She is direct. She's not playing. She's trying to tell us what it's really all about, this going back and forth between Zimbabwe and South Africa. What is really going on there when people leave, and what is really going on when they arrive. And I tell you, this is a very, very well written book. And I'm extremely surprised that I've heard no one but Marina talk about this book. Nyati, it says here she was born and raised in Bulawayo and resides in Johannesburg, an investment analyst by day and storyteller to her son at night. I can imagine she tells some good stories. She writes to escape the reality of financial markets and economic shop talk. She made her screenwriting debut on the award-winning ETV series Matatiele. Her first novel, The Polygamist, so her Polygamist is her first novel, was published in 2012, and readers can look forward to its film adaptation in 2019. But I highly recommend this. I feel like, damn. Okay, this book was just, from all of the themes that you get in here with this idea of patriarchy and control, from money, and what ails man is money, because what happens to a lot of these people is that money is the thing that takes them down. But there's also these family relationships and how dodgy they are, and how once you've crossed over, you can trust no one. Who can you trust? You know, you're there illegally, but who can you really trust? And what it does is that once you go over there illegally, you are at the mercy of anyone who can take advantage of you. And this is where you see that being an illegal immigrant can be so deadly and dangerous. And you don't have your paperwork. They can make you do anything. They can make it look like you've done something you haven't done. I mean, it's just sky's the limits what can happen to you. And if you're a child, it's even worse. So yeah, I highly recommend this. I think I gave this 4.5 stars because it was one moment in the book where I was like, nah, bro, you can't write that like that. But other than that, I would say 4.5 stars, and I highly recommend everybody pick it up, The Gold Diggers. That's all I have for you today. Bye.